But the story that I wanted to bring to your attention today on 5 Live at 5:30, a shocking incident from Kerala. A 24-year-old woman, a young Ayurvedic doctor, was found dead inside her house in Kerala's Kollam district on Monday morning. The woman's family has alleged that she was being tortured, beaten, savaged by her husband over dowry demand, and also claimed that she was assaulted by her husband just a few days before her death. She put these pictures out on the internet. Take a look at this report.
Progressive Kerala. Medieval mindset. A shocking case of suspected dowry death in a state which prides itself over women empowerment. A 24-year-old Ayurved student Vismaya was found dead inside her house in Kollam on Monday, just 1 year after her marriage. The woman's family has alleged that she was being brutally tortured and assaulted by her husband over dowry demands. The family claims they had already given 100 sovereigns of gold, pawn and half-acre of a land and a Toyota Yaris car in dowry. The deceased was married to Kiran, an assistant motor vehicle inspector, about a year ago. Vismaya's family has distressing WhatsApp chats which shows images of injuries shared by Kiran, which were allegedly the result of dowry torture. Her family says she had returned to her paternal home once, but later went to live with her husband and in-laws after completing her studies.
മരണമല്ല, അതൊരു കൊലപാതകം തന്നെയാണ്. കാരണമെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നിരന്തര സ്ത്രീധനപീഡനം അനുഭവിച്ചുകൊണ്ടാണ് എൻ്റെ കുട്ടിക്ക് വന്ന പോലെ ഇപ്പം ഒരുപാട് ഈ കഥകൾ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇനി ഒരാൾക്കും അവസ്ഥ വരരുത്.
The WhatsApp chats are being probed by the police. The shocking messages from Vismaya herself, shared with her relatives, suggest that the husband would thrash and kick her in the face. Meanwhile, the Kerala Women's Commission has sought a detailed report into the matter.
Rural SPക്ക് ഇതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട വിശദമായ അന്വേഷണ റിപ്പോർട്ട് സമർപ്പിക്കുവാനുള്ള നിർദ്ദേശവും നൽകി കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഇന്നലെ തന്നെ വനിതാ കമ്മീഷൻ അറിയിച്ചിരുന്നു. ഇന്ന് വിസ്മയുടെ വീട് സന്ദർശിച്ച് മാതാപിതാക്കളിൽ നിന്നടക്കം തെളിവെടുപ്പ് നടത്തും എന്ന് കമ്മീഷൻ അറിയിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി.
The suspected dowry death has numbed Kerala. Cops have lodged a case of unnatural death and probe is currently underway.
23-year-old Vismaya used to share her ordeal with hardly anyone in the family. And her story should be an eye-opener for the parents on why we should upbring our girls with confidence, self-esteem and the courage to speak up. With camera person Tinku Rajshekaran, Gopi Krishnan, Thiruvananthapuram for India Today.
Dowry demand and death. Well, murder really is still a reality in this country. And that's why we've put the spotlight on the death of young Vismaya. India Today's Gopi Krishnan brought us that story. He's live with me from Thiruvananthapuram. A really shocking story, Gopi. All the more shocking considering that young Vismaya was practically, sending out these warning messages. People knew about her plight and what she was being subjected to, and now it's too late.
Well, absolutely, Shiv, because it is not only shocking, but it's also disappointing to the worst possible limit, because this girl was married to this particular guy, Kiran, who works as an assistant motor vehicle inspector over a year back. That was in May 2021. And ever since this marriage, there were some issues within their life, and she used to be tortured, attacked and harassed by this guy. And she was sharing these messages, and she was actually even sending out the photos of her injuries to some of her relatives. But even when we look at the screenshots of that WhatsApp, we can clearly see that she was even afraid to tell about her ordeal to her own parents. Maybe she did not do that considering her mental status, and maybe she did not really want to upset them. And after one point, when the situation was really intolerable, she decided to go back to her family. But after she completed her studies, remember she was studying, she was in the final years of completing her BAMS, that is an Ayurvedic medicine course. After completing her studies, she decided to go back and stay with her husband
Yes.
and the in-laws. And unfortunately, this is her story and this is how it ended up. So it's not only shocking but also shameful for a state like Kerala, which proclaims that we are the #1 state when it comes to many social aspects.
Yes.
We are #1 in education, we are #1 in many aspects. But indeed, at the end of the day, when it comes to these very patriarchal matters like dowry and other sexist things, it's indeed the same old story that we are forced to repeat time and time again.
It may be suicide, it may be death by suicide, but this was dowry, and we're going to go ahead and call this murder. This woman was driven to her death in this horrible, horrible way. And as Gopi just pointed out, a state that can boast of some of the most enviable social indices still has to bear a horrifying crime of this kind. So much to think about, and we will follow that story and get you the very latest. Her husband has been arrested. What about the in-laws? We'll keep you posted. Gopi.